Okay, so we have the Clanwars champ in the house. He fought Shane Mullen in a very close and very, very good contest. So this is the first time I've got to speak to him in a while. How are you? How did it feel winning the belt?
I'm good one. How are you? But felt class. I made my debut on Clanwars less than two years ago. It'll be 2 years in August. So it was to win the belt, even to be fighting for the belt. I fought for the belt last year. Didn't go my way, but then I knew no matter what, I was going to come back around, and knew this time I wasn't going to let it go. Like so, it was Clanwars is the big one for me in Ireland. Like at the minute, it's all about and then I have Chaos as well. But Clanwars is sort of the one when I started watching MMA. Like it was the one that I've always been watching, like kind of thing. So the one the Clan Wars one was the big one for me, an amateur anyway.
Yeah, no, and especially does it feel more special because you started there, you started with the fight against Rory, which was I've gone back and watched a few times, I must say, because it was like for two lads that just started, like what a fight that was. And
Yeah,
then for you to start there like that and then end up with the belt, like how like obviously you'd had the shot at that before, like obviously you didn't win, but like how did it feel not winning it then? And then when you did win it, did you feel like you kind of redeemed yourself from the last title loss?
yeah. I would say I've redeemed myself. I'm a completely different fighter. Like from then, and I was just experience. Like you seen how the first fight with Eddie, it went like it was first round I won easily, and then second round then I just switched off for a second, and he took advantage of it. I think I was just more experienced than anything. Like at the end of the day, I was what was it, less than a year after my debut. So it's more just like that's what I'm using amateur for this. Like I'm literally in amateur. I've been fighting the best people I possibly could. Like in my third fight, I fought a guy from Dagestan in the World Championships who's like a three-time world medalist, and I went all 3 rounds with him. So like I hate losing. I absolutely hate losing, but that's what I'm using my amateur career as because I didn't start MMA until I was 21, so I don't have time to really hang around. So I've just been looking for the best people, but to win the belt, it was unreal. Uh,
Yeah, and
that's it.
obviously you talked about fighting the best people, and you have. If you look at your topology, you've gone to like the IMF competitions, stuff like
Yeah,
that. Do you think sometimes amateurs like you're 8-6, I believe?
yeah,
Yeah, like do you think sometimes amateurs, especially just amateurs with losing records that I see and you probably see
yeah,
that are fantastic? Do you think sometimes they put too much heat on the record at amateur? Because for me, it doesn't matter. Once you go pro, that's what matters. And
yeah, exactly.
I'd rather
I
have
think,
more losses at amateur and then start off unbeaten for your first 10 fights.
yeah, like some of the people I fought at amateur, or like some of the even like say my fight there was Shane, like that was a high level amateur fight, and you know yourself, whenever you go pro, your first couple of fights is nearly like for my first couple of fights, I think I'm gonna have this high level of that a fight like that. Like even Phil Campbell said it during the fight. He's like, this could be a pro fight, but I just think it's stupid people like having maybe like padded, not padded, but like people not trying to fight the best people they can at amateur for sure. I don't, I like you're not anyone that's successful, like anyone in Cage Wars or anything. You're not talking about their amateur record, are they? And even at being in like topology, like you go into topology, say even someone like Kieran Clark as well. Like I think he had a pretty mixed record. It's people like that, and now look at him, like he's absolutely smashing it. Like he always fought. Like it's people like that that I kind of like look at myself because I don't have the perfect record, but I've literally fought the best people I could, so that'll stand by me whenever I go to pro. So it's people that sort of challenge themselves at amateur will end up doing the best in pro. They're like, uh, I definitely at this level, I think you should be challenging yourself as much as you can, like for sure.
Yeah, you definitely should. And Kieran Clark, he's one I pick out the most because he had a 13-10 record. I think
Yeah,
there's a couple of fights that weren't recorded with Tapology years ago, whatever.
yeah,
But like that, he's unbeaten. What's he 6-0 or something?
yeah. I'm trying to
He's
think. There's not a few people in Ireland, but my head's just let me down here now. But people like Kieran, like just I don't even know Kieran. Like I've never even met him, but it's just like here, it's not the end. Amateur's not the end of the world. If I was out, if I was on a like, I've only been meeting by like two people in Ireland. It would be different if it was say I was 8-6 and I've only fought in Ireland. Well, that's different. Like say if I was fighting people only a couple of fights, but like the majority of the people I've lost to bar one person, everyone I've lost it has been an IMOF medalist at either the Europeans or the Worlds. Weddy has been, and then like everyone else have fought of all medals as well. So it's like I'd rather lose to them than just like fight in Ireland and either even beat lesser competition, like, because I learned so much more from all of them. Every single time, every single one of those fights have taught me a lot. Even losing to Weddy, no matter the shit talk, I learned a lot from that, and it's stood by me. Like, so I learned more from losing than any wins.
Yeah, and like that, can you see like that? We were just talking there. It was August 2021. You started. Like, do you look back at your first fight, like we talked about, which was a cracker? Can you see your progression, and how do you feel looking at your progression? Because like that, you've improved, 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 improved. You've taken, like I said, you've taken from your losses and you've built on them. Like when you look at what you've become over the year and a half, just under 2 years, like how do you view that? Because it's quite incredible, I think.
I don't know. We'll try not to think about it too much. Like I just have in my head like I'm not old at this point. I'm 24 now, but like I'm just like there's no time to lose. Like I don't. So that's why I think that's why I've progressed so much, because I train like a professional already. Like I'm not. It's not like I'm 28 when I started or whatever, but I think it's not like I'm 16 and I have time to waste. Like, but I know and the progression is funny. Like watching my first fight with Rory, it was a serious fight, and like we both did well for our debut, but just some of the differences now between, like, on that first fight, the game plan was basically box and avoid any grappling at all costs. Whereas now I'm taking people down. I've got submissions. If I get taken down, I'm comfortable. I'm just getting back up. Whereas like our game plan, like we took that first fight, I think it was 20 days out, and we're like, right, we're just boxing and avoiding grappling at all costs. So now I'm a lot more of a complete martial artist now. I'm mixing it all up. Like my striking is on another level even from then. Probably the main thing from that fight was I tried to take the head off him from the very first go, which I never even did in sparring. It must have just been adrenaline. But the good thing of having like 15 fights in 2 years now is just so comfortable in there. Like I don't really get any mad adrenaline anymore. But no, I feel like I'm just a complete martial artist now. Still only getting started. But as far from now to my first fight, progression has just been, I'm still going up and up and up. So going well.
Yeah. No, it is like you said, you were going to take his head off. Any fight I've seen you in, I've never seen that other than that fight. Like you usually, like obviously your striking is very, very good. It's elite like that. And if you watch the last couple of fights and even the fights before that, you're very calm. You go in, you don't overextend, you don't throw power because you know they're going to add up. But then when you see that first fight and then you look at you now, but even like I said, you look at every other fight, that's not you. And do you think people pigeonholed you? I think when I done this fighter spotlight on you, it was actually it was at that angle because a lot of people assumed you were just a boxer, and now that you've got some submission wins, do you think people thought, right, we take him to the ground and get him, and then obviously it ended up with you with a couple of submissions? Do you still find that now, or do you think that's faded away as time has gone on?
It's probably still find it, yeah, but here it's probably an advantage to me because like my submissions off my defensive submissions, say like guillotines, triangles, stuff like that, like to where if I am getting taken down, like that's where I'm comfortable anyway, kind of thing. So it doesn't really matter to me. If someone wants to stand up with me, I'm happy. Like, but even Shane's a top class striker, like, and he was doing a lot more grappling, I would say, against me than he would have done in most of his other fights. Like, I just think that, like, they'll all end up shooting anyway. To be honest, I'm used to that now. Like me and Jerry say, doesn't matter how good of a striker they are, like they're going to be shooting on me anyway at some point. I do, and I hit very, very hard. Like even I'm not trying to take the head of people now, where as it was in my fight with Rory, but all my shots are like even in that first round against Shane, I rocked him, but it wasn't like a big one to where you, like say in the second round against him, but like my jabs are like backhands. So I think at this weight class when I land on someone straight away, they're thinking about getting the takedown. Like
Yeah, because like you said, however good a striker they are, like once people start getting hit in the face and like that, when you're precise and you're accurate with them, and you just pop them. There's only so many of them, anybody can take, and it'd be the same if it was vice versa on you before. You're like, fuck, I can't keep getting hit in the face like this, because they're not huge rocking you shots, but they're adding up over time that you're like, I can't. And is that what you go in with? Just go in and just kind of overwhelm, like you're not going in mad, but overwhelmed, just pop, 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 make them feel it, and then you know the shot's coming, so you're ready for it.
Well, the motto for the last few fights me and Jerry have had is hit them as many times as we can in one round, because there was a point last year where I was sort of not throwing as much. I was, especially even like when I fought Weddy the last time, I was getting into the good positions. Like my cage control is very good, like cutting off the ring, cutting off the cage and backing them up to the cage, and that's usually where I unload. Like if you see my fight against Shane there, I'm getting them backed up and then I'm throwing 4s and 5s. Whereas for a while last year and at the start of this year, I was like getting them not gun shy. I was like overthinking. Whereas when I'm striking, I don't think, I just flow. Like if I don't think, that's when I'm doing my best. So like the motto the last couple of fights has just been, how many times can I hit this boy in one round? Like obviously that's the game plan anyway, but like it's literally when I'm landing a lot on you and I'm landing hard. So
and been working on it. You're thinking about it, you're overcomplicating it maybe, whereas if you just go with your natural flow state, that's when the best Damien comes out.
Yeah. I'm still, as I said, I'm still young in this game. Like the skill is getting better and better. The only, like, you can't replace experience. Like, so that's why the benefit for me being so active is every single fight I'm learning. Even when I've lost, like, I'm like, all right, this is what's going on. It's just like when I got in there against Shane and Clanwars, I just felt completely at home. It didn't even. It was just like another day, basically. Just used to it now.
And compare that to obviously your first fight with Rory and your first couple of fights, because I think what amateurs, when they go in, they don't realize obviously you can have interclubs or you can have this, but when you go to the likes of Clanwars and all, it's a proper show, it's a proper event. Do you think amateurs, when they go into that, they kind of at the start you overlook that fact that okay, you're going to be sitting there for a while, you're going to get your hands wrapped. How do you feel in that time? Was that something that you had to deal with as you went on? Was that alien to you when you went in for the first time?
That is big one. See, like it's very hard to win an amateur fight. Like it's very hard. How many people lose their first amateur fight? Like even high level pros, a lot of people lose their first fight, no matter how good they are. Like there's boys that have been a lot better, say, than their opponent, and they've lost it simply because it's just completely different. It doesn't matter really what you do. Like I remember the first day I didn't even like realize you got your hands wrapped at amateur that first day at Clanwars, and I was like, this like it was a bit surreal, and all that, and like that was the first event back with fans that Clanwars, so there was like 400 people going mental, like, and the place was full from the first fight to the last fight, so it is very different. But I think when there's a big crowd, like even like Virtus, that's probably the most pressure an amateur can be under, like your literally your hometown crowd, like nearly 1,000 people there on the main event. But that's whatever it is about me, that's where I perform the best. Like even in the gym, I might not perform the best. Some people might outperform me in the gym, but then one of my best skills is being able to do it then in a crowd. So that's like half the battle as well. But I just do a lot of like visualizing that. Like if someone's beside me and I'm not talking to them, like if they seen what was going, I'm literally in the fight like 20 hours a day, not even really realizing, but like I'm thinking about the fight. I'm visualizing the whole fight, but I'm also visualizing like, right, I'm going up the road to Belfast. Whenever I get to Belfast, what's going to happen? I'm going to do my medical. I'm going to get my wraps done. Like I have the whole day. And then whenever I finish the day, I'll just restart it in my head. So whenever I'm doing it, then it sort of just doesn't really feel any different. Plus, I've done it 15 times now in 2 years, so I'm used to it at this point. But like I'm just visualizing it all the time, so it doesn't really feel as big of a difference then whenever it's actually happening.
Yeah, because that's quite a lot of fights, and like you said, the fact that you have a planned out and visualized in your head is quite good, because you're going, right, I know I have to go through this, through that. Whereas I think that's where a lot of amateurs get caught out and get overwhelmed by the thing. But we talk about versus, because you talked about there fighting in front of children. Talk to us about that, because like what an occasion that was for me. I went to that show for his very first show. That was extremely well run. The crowd was excellent. Your performance, like the whole show, there was bangers on it. What was it like performing in front of that crowd?
It didn't really last long anyway. Like it was only like 33 seconds, I think, but it was unbelievable. It was really like my celebration lasted longer than the fight. I think I was jumping around the cage for about 3 minutes before I eventually calmed down. But it was amazing. Like, to be honest, that's the most pressure I felt. Like we had literally had a billboard that I had to drive past every day, twice a day to go to the gym, of me stuck in the middle of it, and I was coming off a loss against Weddy as well. So that was like the best thing that could have ever happened to me though, because like at this point, like that's the type of pressure that high level pros would be going through, you know. Like, because nothing like that happens in Oma really, a big event like that. It's just Gaelic really that happens in Oma. And like for me to be right main event hometown against a boy, a lot more experienced boy, and like in front of 800, 900 people, that was literally the biggest test that I could have at that point, and it stood like it did me the world of good. But it was amazing. I just can't wait for this August as well. It's gonna be, I think it'll be even better. It was unbelievable. But I was literally only in the place for about half an hour. Like I went in the morning, weighed in, and came back home, and I was just sitting about all day. It's weird because like I'm always having to drive to Belfast or go to Dublin or whatever for my fights. Or most half of my fights haven't even been in the country, and I was literally like 10 minutes away. So I was just sitting about all day. Literally arrived, hands wrapped, warmed up, and I was out again. It's probably the shortest I've ever been in a venue in my life.
Probably was that your shortest fight?
30 seconds. I've got a few first round finishes, but that was the shortest one. I think
So
I've won.
was that the record for the night as well? I think that is a record for Virtus.
I
Was
think so.
there any earlier finishes?
I don't think so.
Kieran Coogan had an early finish on that, actually, didn't he?
I actually did. I didn't even really watch most of the fights, to be honest, because I was sitting at home. I watched.
It's mad that I was just sitting at home, casually rocked up, won the main event,
So
I
weird.
went
Like
home.
that was the weirdest feeling because I was just sitting in my room. Like, what do I even be at now? I actually like going. A lot of people like don't like going away, but I like being in a hotel or whatever. And then like you're on a job, whereas like you have a job to do. Where I'm sitting at home here, I'm sitting like watching YouTube, and it just didn't even feel real. But then I felt a lot of pressure that whole camp. But then on the fight day, then once I weighed in, it was really like nothing was happening. No, I think this year's gonna be even better, like, as well, because it went so well last year. Like nobody really, nothing. Like MMA is still very small in Oma. Like, it's not like Dublin or Cork or whatever. It's still just building up, but we have real good support. Like we're only a small gym, but there's like it's in the paper and all anytime, or like everyone's sharing stuff and all. But there was no, that was the first ever MMA event in Oma. And a lot of people didn't know what to expect, kind of thing. Like it was all friends and families, and they were sort of like there because they knew someone on it. But like I don't think anybody was disappointed after it. Like they're straight away, everyone was just asking when's the next one and all. So this year will be even bigger, I think.
Yeah, I was very, like I said, I was very impressed. I've been to a lot of shows, and I was very impressed with how it ran, the fights, the whole thing. It was just so seamless. It was just like,
Yeah,
fight was over, in and out. And what I liked was actually there was room for me to just float around as well. Usually,
yeah,
it's thing like it was very well thought out for the likes of
yeah.
photographers and media as well. And the next one, obviously, I'm presuming I haven't seen anything announced for you. And if you do, we don't want you to announce anything, but we presume you're going to be there and you're going to be the main event again.
Yeah,
That's
I'll be the main event. Yeah. No opponent yet. We're still working on that. I think what is it, 10 weeks out. So just wanted to get Clanwars over with me for over first, and then I've had a week to enjoy myself. Last week I was back training and all, but be back in camp now, ready. New goals set and just ready to smash Virtus. So just looking out for an opponent at the minute. I'll leave that up to Jerry though.
yeah. You just get in,
Um,
do your training, and then just show up on the night. Would obviously with it being the second show, the first one, will there be any titles on the line, do you think? Or has that been
no,
spoken about?
because he's only planning on doing once a year, maybe twice, 2 times a year. So he's not planning. There's no point, say, like if it was this August and then we're not having the next one until
Yeah.
next August or even like January, February. There's no point having titles because like people could not even, someone who has a title in a year's time, they're either not doing MMA or like, but if they're holding a title in a year's time, they're probably going to be maybe thinking about pro, but they're doing a Grand Prix every time, so there's going to be like 2 fights in one night, which I
Okay.
think is even better than a title because like it's even cooler. So he's doing the featherweight Grand Prix. I'll not be in it. I'll be fighting at lightweight because same day. So I'm excited to see that. I'm not sure if there's anyone announced for yet. Is there?
I don't know. I know I do because I was chatting to Jerry myself, but I'll have a look.
Yeah,
Um, and see. But I like the Grand Prix. I actually really like the idea that they came out. And like I said, if the fights are really good matchups, which they were, you don't really
yeah,
need titles on them anyways. The title is
yeah,
just kind of like the
exactly.
cherry on top. And like you said, if it's
Uh-huh.
Clan Wars or your fighting championship, which is running
Yeah,
3 or 4 times a year, it makes
exactly.
sense to have one.
Yeah,
But if it's once a year, just stack the
yeah,
card, do good fights, and people
exactly. Yeah.
show up for us. So you said you've got new goals. Obviously, Virtus is going to be the next one. Can you talk about any of your other goals for the rest of the year, or is it something that you've want to keep under wraps?
No, just here. I started the year. uh, Like Clanwars sort of landed well, where it's now it's like I've got the whole second half of the year. Start of the year went probably as bad as it could. I had my first fight, so my goal just had my goals from always set on January, like my goals for the year,
Yeah,
and I had them set. Went 0-2 at the start of the year, and then just wasn't happening the way I liked it. So I'm just happy I got that win on Clan Wars now. Reset whatever win or losses I've got this year is done, and I've got a big second half of the year. So we've got Virtus, and then I think Chaos is in the end of October, so I'll be pushing for it as well. And then if I could get another fight maybe in December, that would be even better as well. So then it'll be 4-2 for the year. That'll be good.
yeah, because I would presume Clan Wars is probably going to come back at the end of the year as well.
Yeah,
So
something like
you'd
that
be
would be very good.
you'd be defending your title. So one of the
Yeah,
fights that you had, obviously, you fought Frank, wasn't it, in the
yeah.
nationals? Talk to us about the nationals, the experience of the day, and what you learned, obviously, from the fight.
Well, I fought like 2 weeks before that. Do you I can have the date there? I don't know. I was fought in Clan Wars. I was meant to fight. That's when my first fight with Shane was meant to be. And then on fight week, then Shane something happened in his medical and had to pull out. So then I ended up fighting Weddy again.
Yeah, it wasn't too far. Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
Something like that. So I ended up fighting Weddy again. As I said, just couldn't. That's whenever I felt like I couldn't get going. Like I was backing him up and getting in good positions, but there was just a lot going on with myself even at that point of the year. And here, I just didn't perform well. Like I lost the fight well on the day, and then I fought in the nationals then 2 weeks later against Frank. Just I feel like I went in with the wrong mindset. Like I was just sort of straight after that fight because I wasn't even sure if I was going to do the nationals at that point. And then I lost that fight against Winning. And I was like, here, the nationals in 2 weeks. Like I was doing it to sort of scratch off being on a loss kind of thing rather than like, right, I'm prepared. I want to be national champion. Obviously, you want to be national champion, but like my main goal was that Clan Wars versus Shane originally. And then like everything started getting mixed up and there was a lot of like even personal stuff going on. Um, and then so I feel like I went into that fight itself with like the wrong mindset. I was just trying to like not being on loss rather than trying to actually you need like to be in a tournament like that, you need to be being coming in prepared for that tournament alone and in the right mindset. So here that was probably like one of the lowest points mentally for me. Like that's the first time I lost two in a row and I don't feel like I should have lost. I feel like the first fight I didn't perform at all on Clan Wars. Like just I was and like couldn't let go whatever was wrong, and then being in that wrong mindset in the nationals, I just didn't get the win. Like, and after that was like that's the first time losing two fights in a row, and at that point I was like, that was crap feeling. And then I was thinking like, do I even want to fight for a long time? Like, don't know if I like I didn't want to stop fighting or anything, but I just didn't want to feel that again. Then just here, once again just had to scratch that off and just got the fight offer from Clan Wars and give me a new goal. And I just absolutely put my heart into that last camp, so it worked out well. Like,
Yeah, pay dividends. A lot of people don't talk about that, the mental side of it. Obviously, you don't have to go into too much. You said that obviously that you hit low point. Do you think that's something all fighters go through and they just don't talk about? Because like that, a loss doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad fighter. Sometimes there is
mm-hmm.
reasons. There could be injuries, like you said, the mindset. And I think mental is one thing that's extremely overlooked in fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's hugely mental, I think. Like, do you think a lot of fighters go through that and they just don't say it? And when you were saying, do you want to fight again? Was it you were doubting yourself or was it just the feeling?
Now it's just a feeling. I would say like maybe doubting myself as well. I'm like, geez, like I thought I was the best guy in Ireland, and then I'm losing to like I don't even care. Like I shouldn't be losing to people that have lost to. Um, so I was just like, geez, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am, but it was more just that feeling. Like I know people that would lose and they'd be like, all right, whatever, like whatever, because then I know they don't work as hard as me, but it's the people, like it's the people that really affects is the people that put their absolute heart and soul in it. Like I know we're only amateurs, but there's like I'm training twice a day, 6 times a week or 6 days a week. I'm training every day. So then whenever you're losing that, like you put your heart and soul in it and then you're not getting the result, it does affect you mentally big time. And then also like I don't know, I just didn't there was just a lot going on at that time. So then after that I was like, gee, I don't know if I felt that once again what way it was gonna be, but yeah. Even if I had a lost that last fight against Shane, like not that that was ever an option, but like I just took some time after that fight to sort of chill out first, like take a bit of pressure on myself, and then like I wouldn't have went into that fight if I felt like I wouldn't have been able to handle the camp. But the main focus for this camp was just enjoying it, like enjoying. I really enjoyed my training. Like this is the hardest I've ever trained, and I was absolutely like broken some weeks. Like I was exhausted, but I really had an emphasis on enjoying my training. Where before I was sort of like for a while there at the end of last year, sort of this year, it was just sort of like feeling like I had to do it. But I'm doing it because I want to do it. That's sort of the thing you need to remember. You get to do it. You don't have to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I like that you enjoyed your training and like that.
yeah,
A lot of fighters, like you said, that's what I hate about the sport. There has to be one winner. And obviously
yeah,
I would talk to you a lot. I talk to other fighters and I might be talking to both of you coming up to the fight. And I know what you've put in, what Shane
yeah,
has put in. And that's what
yeah.
kills me. When I go into the cage and you're doing the winners and losers, and then I'm just like you can see the devastation in someone who has trained, can't you? Can you
Yeah.
see that? Because there's
Uh,
some fighters are like not that, like you said, not that they don't care, but it's like, okay. Whereas
yeah.
you can look in someone's eyes. Can you see that when you win and you see your opponent and go, you can see he's devastated. Like you can see the
Okay.
devastation.
Some people are just happy to be there. Like that's just not. I'm not just doing MMA. I'm not just fighting because for just to take part, as they say. Like I'm fighting. I am literally. It says on my Instagram. I am all or nothing. Like if I don't think that I'm gonna give my whole to everything, I wouldn't bother doing it. Like MMA is not a game. You're getting punched and kicked in the head. Like I'm eating freaking someone's trying to take the head off me. Like I'm all in this. But then I do watch and see some people and they're just like, all right, whatever. And then obviously you shouldn't be like it shouldn't be ruining your life if you're losing. Like there needs to be a line emotionally, but then there's also like some people that are really, you can see that they're just showing like they're not putting in that hard of training. Like it's not affecting them that much. So then I don't know. Maybe it's for their own. Like if they don't put in too much, then they'll be able to say, "Oh, sure, I didn't even train." But I'd rather be like, "Here, I put my heart and like I put everything I had into that, whether I win or loss." And then same with Shane as well. Like I don't really know Shane Moan personally. I've met him once before, but like I can tell he's on the same boat as me. Like he's all in. I didn't listen to his interview with you, but he seems like this kind of person who we both train like we're professional. Like we're still amateur, but we're both very dedicated, and I respect that a lot. Like
Yeah, I think like he went to Thailand. He took a lot of time
yeah,
out of Ireland, went to Thailand, done a
yeah,
lot of training, and I think he's fought only once since he came back, and that's what he's. So he says every fight he's putting it into. So like obviously you can see that, I can see that in fighters as well. Like, and I like what you're saying is because if you want to get to where you want to go, right?
mm-hmm.
And then at the end of it, you don't want to have that as, oh, I didn't train hard enough. Whether you
uh,
win or lose, you can say, well, I tried, like I put
yeah,
everything into it. Whether because if you didn't train hard enough, you'd always be, well, what happens if I did? You know,
mm-hmm.
that sort of way. So
Yeah. I'm sure there's some people who are happy to do that, like happy to only give 50%, because then they'll be like, if they do lose, then they'll even during the camp they're probably like, oh, sure, even if I lose, then at least I can say, and that's an excuse in their eyes. But like, I'd rather have no excuse and still lose than like have a 50% excuse and lose. Like, nah, okay.
yeah, so obviously you turned it round, you had to fight Clanwars, and it looks like you've got a busy year ahead of you, which I can't wait for Versus. Like I said, Chaos as well. It's another championship. Then
Yeah,
hopefully Clanwars at the end
hopefully
of the year.
that one.
I'm gonna let you go because there's actually a timer on the Zooms, believe it or not. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna let you go. I want to thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. I watched your fight online. It was a pleasure because I've seen you a couple of times. I will see you definitely at Virtus and
yeah.
Chaos as well. It was my first time at Chaos, the last one, and it was fantastic. So I
It's great
definitely will
show.
go into that again. Is there anything you want to say before you go, or anyone you want to shout out?
No, just shout out everyone supporting me. Shout out Jerry, Bruce. Shout out all the Team Rhino lads as well, and Bill down in Team Rhino. I've been going down there every Saturday during this camp. And that was a big, like, as I say, just literally pushing myself to the limits, leaving home at like 7, driving down to Dublin, training for 3 hours and coming back up. Like, it's been a massive help. And big thanks to all my sponsors as well, Capture and Adapt, everyone. Just thanks. Thanks for the opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again on the victory. And I can't wait
Cheers.
to see you fight again. And hopefully the rest of the year goes as you plan it.
Yeah. It's a big year ahead.
And I can't wait to
Yeah,
see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.